Have you ever looked at two different products and had that little moment of déjà vu? You know, where you think, hang on, that looks almost exactly the same. Well, sometimes that's not just a coincidence. It's a high-stakes puzzle. And today we're diving into a fight over, of all things, a ceiling fan, a battle that went all the way to the top. So this is really the big question, isn't it? Let's forget all the legal speak for a second. Just think about it. If you create something new, how much does a competitor have to change it before they can call it their own? I mean, where exactly is that line? All right, let's meet the main players in our story. On the left, you've got a ceiling fan design from a company called Hunter Pacific. And on the right, a fan from a competitor, Martech, that looks, well, pretty darn similar. You can see it, right? And that similarity is exactly what kicked off a huge legal fight. That's right, this wasn't just some minor squabble between two companies. The question of whether Martech's fan was too close for comfort went all the way up to one of Australia's highest courts. And that just goes to show you how important and how incredibly tricky that question really is. Okay, so how do creators and companies actually protect the way a product looks? How do you stop someone from copying your style? Well, it turns out there's a special legal shield designed for exactly that, to safeguard the unique appearance that makes your product yours. It's called a registered design. The easiest way to think about it is like a copyright, but instead of for a book or a song, it's for the physical look of an object. It's the legal armor that says, hey, this look, it belongs to me. But here's the catch. You don't just get this protection automatically. You have to pass a test. And that brings us right to the heart of how a court figures this stuff out. They use what's called the new and distinctive test. It's basically two hurdles that every single design has to clear to prove it deserves protection. So let's break them down. First up, the court asks a really simple question. Is it new? I mean, has the world ever seen a design identical to this one before? If the answer is yes, game over. But if it's new, we hit the second, much harder question. Is it distinctive? And this is where it gets interesting. It can't just be a tiny tweak. It has to be substantially different from anything that's come before it. And make no mistake, this isn't just a friendly guideline. It is the law. The full federal court itself put it plainly. A design has to be new and distinctive. If it's not, its protection, its registration, can be invalidated, basically canceled. The stakes are really, really high. So let's bring it back to our ceiling fans. You can just imagine the judges, right? They had to line up these designs, the original Hunter Pacific fan, the new Martech fan, and other designs that were already out there, and ask that crucial question. Is this new one really distinctive? Is the difference big enough to matter? And the fallout from failing this test? It's huge. If a court decides, nope, this design isn't new and distinctive, then poof, that registration, that legal protection is completely wiped out. It's as if it never existed. And that means it's a free-for-all. Any competitor can then use that design, and the original creator loses all their rights. Now, I get it. You might be thinking, okay, ceiling fans? Cool story. But what does this actually have to do with me? Well, the principles from this one case actually ripple out and affect a whole lot of people, from artists and inventors to big companies, and yeah, even you and me. So let's look at why this rule is so important. For creators, it's a shield. It's what protects their genuine, hard-won innovation from being easily copied. For businesses, it draws a really clear line in the sand between healthy competition and just, well, stealing an idea. And for all of us as consumers, it means we get a marketplace that's actually exciting, full of fresh, original products, not just a sea of lookalikes. And don't think for a second this is some dusty old law. This decision came down in 2017, and it set a modern standard for what distinctive means in today's super fast-paced world. It basically hit the reset button on how these design fights are handled. So if you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this. In the world of design, just creating something that's never existed in an identical form before isn't enough. The crucial part, the real test, is whether your design is different enough to stand on its own 2 feet. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to chew on, doesn't it? We live in a world that's all about inspiration, sequels, and remixes, where it feels like everything is built on something that came before it. In a world like that, what does it truly mean for something to be new? Where do we draw that line? It seems to get a little bit blurrier every single day. What do you think?